Just out of curiosity, who here knows about Startup Weekend? Just show of hands, just quickly. Who doesn't know about Startup Weekend? Anybody? All right. So just for the people who don't know, Startup Weekend is sort of a 54-hour crunch time on starting a business or building a startup. I had no idea about it when I went to my first one. Now I know a whole lot about it, and I knew nothing about accelerators. I knew nothing about incubator programs and anything like that. But now I'm sort of right in the whirlwind of it all with Groupnotes. So I'll just let you guys know my story and how I got here, and just sort of take it from there. So I'll go over here. So how it began. A friend of mine, Matt, he invited me to this Startup Weekend event. He said, "You're a developer, I'm a developer. Let's make something cool over the weekend. Let's hear somebody's business idea and let's build it." So I thought, hey, might as well. So my college buddy, there he is. This is his face. That was him in college. That's him now. Hasn't changed much.
That's him right now.
Yeah, right now. So he invited me to Startup Weekend Peel, and out in Mississauga, and it was held at Sheridan College in Mississauga, and I had no idea what to expect, and I heard a bunch of people pitch these crazy business ideas. Some of them were really cool, some of them weren't so cool, but everybody pitched an idea. And so him and I joined up with an idea called Card Drop, and we ended up actually winning Startup Weekend Peel. And there's me, I'm so excited. Just as a contrast, there's somebody back there who's not enjoying himself, which I thought was kind of funny. And then there's me with a little trophy. And so Startup Weekend Peel was kind of small because it was the first time they ever ran it. There weren't a lot of good ideas and things like that, but it was so much fun that we all decided, and the people that we met, we decided to go to Startup Weekend Toronto. And the person who had the idea for Card Drop, he said, "Listen, I got a better idea, and we'll do it at Startup Weekend Toronto." And I said, "Don't tell me what it is. Let's do this again. Friday to Sunday, no sleep, whatever it takes, we'll do something cool." So Startup Weekend Toronto happened. So the idea for Groupnotes was pitched, and it was a collaboration tool for students. So essentially what the business idea was is you can annotate any web page on the web page, and all your group members will see the exact same notes as they're browsing the web.
Amazing.
It's crazy. It's awesome. So anyway, so we went through it, and we went through Startup Weekend Toronto. Here's some photos of it. And then, yeah, so Startup Weekend Toronto, we ended up winning 3 weeks after winning Startup Weekend Peel. So it's kind of crazy. And that was in November. And now I'm working full-time on Groupnotes. So some of the prizes for that was we got to open the Toronto Stock Exchange. There's us, and you can see two of the people have their eyes closed. And that was the only picture we had of our team for the longest time, with people with their eyes closed. But yeah, so after that, there was a thing that we had no idea about called the Global Startup Battle. Basically, all the winners of Startup Weekends from around the world make a 90-second video, 90-second pitch video about their product, and then they have to get a crap load of votes, and they if they make the top 15, they get to go in front of a panel of judges. So I actually went to another startup or DevTO event and asked people for votes. So if you guys recognize me at all, I was begging you for votes. But what the crazy thing of the thing was, we won. We won the Global Startup Battle. So apparently we were this all of that, we won there's a Global Startup Battle. So we were doing some crazy things to promote ourselves, walking around university campuses with horse masks and handing out cookies and stuff. It was really guerrilla marketing, but yeah. So we won a trip to San Francisco, and we got to go to Google and a bunch of other things, and we had such a blast doing it. That was just before biking over the Golden Gate Bridge, and my legs after that hurt a lot. Now, after all of that, we are in an accelerator program in the Kitchener-Waterloo area called Communitech Hyperdrive. And it's a 3-month program, and day 25 is today. And we should be working right now. This is coming from a developer who knew nothing about any of this, and now this is my full-time job. I quit, I'm comfy, job for an agency making websites. I'm now living in a house with 5 dudes. There's literally 1.5 bedrooms. Yeah, it's crazy, but it's by far the most fun I have ever had working on something, ever. And this all started from Startup Weekend. And I know nothing about making a business. And all of us, we're learning as we're going along. And it's pretty crazy. So one of the things I was asked to sort of tell everybody about my experience, and my experience as somebody who just keeps winning these things somehow. It's awesome. It is so much fun. Even if you don't win, I had plans to do something completely different. I don't know, maybe get hammered after the winners were announced, but we had work to do. So it's crazy. So anyways, the question is, how did we do it? We learned a few things along the way. And really this is, for anybody going to a startup weekend, this is things that you can sort of take. For anybody who's just starting a business, maybe, there's information in this that you can take for that as well. But yeah, so this is basically how we did it. The point is to prove the business. What good is an idea if nobody's going to pay money for it, and what good is an idea if you can't actually make it? So that really the two pieces are, can you build it and will people pay for it? With Card Drop was an idea, and I don't really want to get into exactly what it is, but we proved it by talking to people, and there were real estate agents that we talked to and said they pay $200 a year per agent for it. So hey, there's some dollar signs you can put on that. So and with what we did with Groupnotes is we actually went and we made sales over Startup Weekend. We made, I think it's $550. Of selling the idea, something that's not even a product, to university professors. People were willing to pay for it. And from a developer's perspective, all we had to do was prove it's possible. And so yeah, my tips are take shortcuts. This is a competition. We did it without user accounts. Who needs user accounts? You don't need a login form. You just need the thing to work. Sessions, screw that. Do not use platforms you're inexperienced with. We attempted to deploy onto Azure, and we knew nothing about Azure. There was somebody from Microsoft BizSpark who was there, and he was a lot of help. It was awesome, but we didn't know what the hell we were doing. So when we started making web worker roles and it taking 30 minutes to deploy and having no log, we didn't know what the hell we were doing with it. So don't do that. We spent a lot of wasted time this weekend trying to deploy this onto Azure. Just because we hadn't used it. Now I know a little bit more. I might be able to. So use what you're comfortable with. Build the concept, not the platform. We could have made user accounts. We could have done email notification systems and all that stuff, but at the core, the concept of Groupnotes is to annotate web pages, and any web page. That's the idea. So we needed to work on injecting scripts into web pages. We needed to work on, and one of the big things about it is it's real time. If 2 people are on the same web page, they see the notes appear in real time. So we needed to solve those problems before building the user account system, sessions, all that good stuff, and so that's what we kind of went at. So at Startup Weekend, nobody expects a final product. It is impossible to build a business, bottom to top, over a weekend. I couldn't do it, and now that we're working full time on this, spending 15-hour days working on it, I know it's not possible in 54 hours. Does this code belong here? Probably not, get over it. I argue with myself a lot on where code should be. Should it be in the database layer? Should it be in the services layer? Should it be whatever layer you want it to? If you're asking yourself the question, you're probably right, it shouldn't be there, but it doesn't matter on that weekend. Because really do only what it takes to make things work. So we have a lot of logic in the wrong places. And I am an advocate about naming conventions and things like that, but all that was blown away for the weekend. So this is a competition. Follow the criteria. Somebody is spelling it out somewhere. Any competition, they're going to say, these are the points the judges are going to be judging on. Find out what they are, and at the end you have to do a pitch to these judges, and maybe even a demo if you're that far along. And make sure you hit every single point of that criteria. That's the important part. So know what the judge is expecting, and then write code that produces results, and don't write code that passes tests. We had things crashing, but we also had, for our tech demo, we had SSH terminals open so we could restart things that crash for reasons we didn't really know. But that's what it's all about. You were going to rewrite everything. We probably wrote a few thousand lines of code over that weekend, top to bottom, but since then, we've taken the concepts and we've done them more justice now. We've taken those problems we've solved and now we've made it elegant. But I don't think there's a single line of code we kept from that weekend because it was pointless. We wrote it for the idea of winning that competition, and that's it. So yeah, when I went to Startup Weekend Peel, somebody presenting said Startup Weekend can change your life. And anytime I've ever heard that, I've thought, yeah, whatever. Right? That doesn't make sense. Things like this, 54-hour sprints, they don't change your life, but they really, really have. So my advice, if you go to one of these events, and I highly recommend it, go with high expectations of yourself. You're going to write some pretty crappy code, but you're going to write some code that's going to wow yourself and wow people who are looking at it. Work harder than you've ever have. I think I got 4 hours of sleep that whole weekend, or both weekends really. And for it, I'm more proud of myself ever than any other project I've done. And take on an idea and make something awesome. Part of Groupnotes is that real-time experience, and we built it so you can be on a web page and have a member of one of your groups leave a note on that website and you just see it pop up. There's no need for going to dashboards and see feeds and get notifications in an app. It happens live on the web page. And we made that work over the weekend. And that was one of the most awesome things I think I've ever produced. So with that in mind, really I say everybody should attend a Startup Weekend, regardless of the size of it, regardless of if it's an education-specific one. People are going to have ideas. And, I've been talking for a while, so I'll show you guys Groupnotes and sort of what we built, and now what we're getting into. Yes. Okay. Cool. Actually, I'm gonna go log into my account. And live tech demos never work. Was another tip. So this is bound to fail. Yeah, no.
You restart this every night?
We're stable. Matt says we're stable. I would take that. It never works at a time like this. Okay. So, I guess we're working. So, the way our platform was built is with a Chrome extension for the most part. It injects things into every web page for all you Uber geeks. It's a whole lot of fun. So, let's see what we got here. Let's see if this is going to actually work for me. I hate Macs, by the way. I think I'm an advocate. I don't like it.
Too bad.
Come on.
Stuff on any laptop doesn't have stuff.
Sorry?
Highlighting anything.
It is. It does. Like, no, I'm waiting for something. I left myself a note so I can see it later to hopefully make this process a little more smooth. Which it's not. Come on. All right, whoever's torrenting, stop right now. Come on. Wi-Fi's cute.
Webcon fail.
I think that was directed at somebody who made the site. Still loading. Let's do it on a text document next time. How good is YouTube's internet normally?
Not very good right now.
Oh my god, look at that, look at the spin. Oh, it is.
It's running for me.
Shut up! You're not standing here. A lot of people. Pinterest. Is that what we're waiting for?
Yep.
Do you have a Pinterest widget on here? Taking it out somewhere else.
Can we ask questions?
Sure, ask questions. It's a good time.
In terms of the startup that you're involved with, the incubator,
Yep.
is that you're an employee, owner?
I am a co-founder, so I partially own Groupnotes. Really, it would have been difficult for me to quit my job had I not had something like that to pull me in. But yeah, that's basically it. So with the incubator program, they gave us a little bit of money. They took a very small amount of equity, and they gave us space to work in, and they've given us access to a large network of mentors. And that's the biggest piece of it, is that we're going to be learning doing this, so might as well have industry experts from all categories teaching you the way to do things, and the way to build a business, and the way to do all that. So, yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Are you incorporated?
We are incorporated.
And did you do that startup weekend? Or
No, we didn't do that startup weekend. We had better things to do.
Right.
Sorry?
Quick, fill out an application.
Yeah, no, we have incorporated it, which is good. That was a process that I never understood. I don't deal with lawyers normally in my day-to-day life. So yeah. Twinage? Whatever that is. I don't know if it's going to you take me. I don't know what that means.
Wikipedia.
Wikipedia won't even load? This was doomed to fail, yeah.
How did you reconcile throwing out all the rules of structure and still work cohesively with other developers?
I was working with one other developer, really.
pop
Oh, look at that!
We gotta know.
That's right on the webpage. Okay. So, throwing out the structure of programming, that really, personally, that was a tough thing to do. I think it may have been easier for Matt. But we communicate really well. We can tell each other when one person's being an idiot, and that happens a whole damn lot. And really, as long as the two, or for us, it was two developers, as long as you guys understand the concepts that you're trying to build, and you guys understand I guess the naming conventions of everything. Like the system we built this on is an idea that Matt had called Wormhole. So it's an odd name, but now we think in that terminology and everything that has to do with Wormhole and how it works. So really we started building a concept and having the conversation pieces out of it. And with that you can start breaking rules. As long as you can speak the same language, you can break all the rules, in my mind at least. And actually, just another point, I think 2 developers is the magic number for something like this over the weekend. Any more and everyone starts stepping on each other's feet. Because for the first one we had a 3rd developer with card drop, and it was tough to keep conversations between 3 people and to keep understanding between 3 people. So afterwards, after the startup weekend experience, you can have a huge team if you want to, but that's that. Other questions? Yes?
How important is creative direction? If your thing looks like console output or just spit something onto a page, is that less value than someone that has some maybe Photoshop or creative skills and can make it look a little bit more polished?
That's one of the things where you find more talent than just developers and business people at a startup weekend. We worked with some great designers, and there are people that I wish we could have kept along the way. But for them and for us, it just didn't quite work out. But we did have people that could help make it look good. So there were pieces of our pitch that had graphic elements that I could never do. Don't ask me to Photoshop a single graphic. I can make a photo look a little more contrasty. But beyond that, I can't make graphics. But you work with a much larger team there. Everyone's there to have fun. Everyone's there to produce something, and you can really find the best of both worlds. So, yeah.
Any other questions?
Yeah, ideally you start this with strangers, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
How does it work? Like, you guys have hit on a great idea.
Yeah.
How does it work if we don't know each other, and we come up with this great idea together? How do you decide how to break the business down? Like, are you all equal partners? Who
We
takes the role of
that we
the
had
lead?
we had some very awkward conversations about things like that between us, just because everyone wants to.
And does that happen before or after?
For us, it
You
happened
become a
after.
leader?
For us, it happened after, but the guy who had the idea, it's essentially his idea, and we were
Right.
helping him build it.
Yeah.
So he told everybody at startup weekend, he said, I don't know what we're gonna need after this. He said, if this is looking like something, I might wanna pursue it. And he took ownership of it at that moment
Okay.
by giving everybody that disclaimer. And if anybody didn't want to follow him with that idea, they really had the right to leave. It's just an event over a weekend. But we went in there and sort of, yeah. Oh, look, I got a comment. There we go. Afterwards, we had the difficult conversation of breaking apart a business. Questions I never thought I would need to ever answer when it comes down to it. But if you're working with people who are as dedicated as you are on an idea, that stuff, it can happen at any point. And you guys are going to work something out, really, is what it comes down to.